Hello and welcome back to the Rope Access and Climbing Podcast. I'm your host, Mikey Stevenson, and today I'm going to be talking with Leo from Heart of the Summit. If this is your first time here, please make sure to subscribe and follow us wherever you get your podcast. So stay tuned. Step into your harness and get ready for a podcast about the vertical world. All right, well, let's dive into today's episode. Today, I am joined with Leo from Everest 2021. So, Leo, for the people out there that haven't heard of you yet, obviously I've kind of broadcast you over my platforms a couple times, but for the people that don't know who you are, do you mind giving a little bit of an introduction of who you are, where you come from, and what do you do?
Uh, Hello, Mikey. Thank you very much for the invite, first of all.
Yeah, absolutely.
My name is Leo Naiman. I am I'm a mountaineer for hobby, and I've been doing it for all my life. I started when I was 14 years old. Uh, Everything was okay till one day in 2018 I had a heart attack, and so after a few other things happened to my life, I decided to climb Mount Everest in 2020. Then COVID-19 happened, and we postponed it for a full year. And now in April 2021, we're going to, if COVID-19 uh, allows us, we're gonna go and give it a try again.
Absolutely. Awesome. And where
So
are you based
that's
out
pretty
of?
much.
Where are you based out of?
I'm in Edmonton.
You're Edmonton.
I'm in Edmonton, Alberta, the city
Excellent.
of champions. Yeah.
The City of Champions. Yes. Excellent. Well, thank you very much for, taking the time to join me for this little interview here. So you had a situation back in 2018. Do you mind diving into that a little bit?
I was okay. Yeah, I was coming down. I was just doing my descent from Pico de Orizaba in Mexico. I went to Mexico to do some fundraising to help two orphanages that they were going to close. The majority of my bigger trips, my bigger expeditions, I usually do try to do it for a reason, not just because I love to climb.
Hmm.
And this time I was helping two orphanages, so I went up the north face, which is technically one of the hardest faces, although it's not too hard. I went up the north face, and I decided to descend to the south face, which is a little bit more rocky area. And yeah, I started to feel a little bit of discomfort in my chest. Um, we came back down. We went to base camp. It was really bothering me. As soon as I reached a lower altitude, uh, it was okay. I was okay, no problems. I thought, you know what, maybe it's just Mexico, it never happened to me. That never happened to me. I never felt like that before in other expeditions that I have in my life. But it was, I was just, my age. You really. I knew it was different, but I didn't think, and I never thought about having a heart attack or anything like that. So I came back to I visited other things in Mexico. I came back to Edmonton. I rest for a couple of weeks. Then I started to train for because I was thinking, my next I was planning to do a Elbrus in Europe, and I was at the gym training, going in an elliptical machine, and then just getting some cardio going. Then I started to feel the same thing that I felt when I was in Orizaba. The thing is that this time was a little bit different. It was obviously stronger, um, um, and it was increasing in intensity. The pain was more. It was stronger and stronger, and so I when my son, because my son was in the gym with me, walked by me, he said, uh, "You know what? You don't look at what's going on. Take it easy," because he knows me that I'm a little bit, you know, accelerated. Like I like to do things quick. And then he said, "Take it easy." I said, "No, no, no. This is my chest." So he said, "Okay. So what do you want me to do?" I said, "Go call mom." I went. I knew what's going on. I knew that this was not going to go away. It was it was actually more stronger than before. So I went to the locker room. I didn't change or anything. Put what I had in my hands in the bag. I started to leave the gym. On my way out, it was basically just shutting me down. Like the pain was horrible. I felt my chest was going to explode. I started to sweat a lot. I started to feel just all these things that you sometimes hear on TV and things like that. I started to feel my left arm going numb. I remember asking the lady in the front desk on my way out, "Did you guys have a defibrillator here?" And she said, "No, I don't even think she knows. She knew what defibrillator was." Anyways, I left and there's a set of a bench right across from the gym. I looked at the hallway and I don't see my son coming with my wife or anything. But I couldn't stand up anymore. I knew that if I don't reach that bench, I wasn't gonna make it. I would just drop on the ground and who knows well. So I decided to go and sit quick on that bench. And as I'm sitting on the bench, I sit right there on the bench and I just was going like this. Started to go like this. Looking at like that at someone, I remember someone. I don't even remember if it was a lady of a man. They were talking to me just like you hear in the movies and on TV, like with echo, going
Mm-hmm.
like, "Hey, are you okay? Are you okay?" But I was just going. The pain was horrible. It doesn't let you even talk or anything. You know that you're having a heart attack. I knew it was a heart attack. I knew that that wasn't gonna go that easy. And I just dropped when I was just almost to hit the ground. Basically, I was right at the edge of the bench, and my head was going down. And when I was going to drop the head, I felt my son grabbing me, and I didn't know it was my son. I knew it was my son 5 seconds later because he said, "Let's go, let's go." My wife was screaming. That day, it was me, my wife, and my son. My wife was doing some shopping at Westminster Mall. And I was main time I said, "No, you know what? I'm gonna stop at the gym with my son." That was the trip we took that day. So I was actually lucky that they were both in there.
Yeah, super
Uh,
lucky.
yeah, he went and he he grabbed the truck and they pulled in front of the mall and I just jumped in the truck. They took me to the hospital and I don't know if you want to know the complete full story right away or if you want to keep the
No,
emotion
no.
going.
Yeah, so basically, the you first started feeling the onset of a heart attack, a couple weeks prior on the descent of a mountain, and then, you kind of brushed it off, and then, you start doing more physical activity a couple weeks later, end up in this uncomfortable state and like the cold sweats, and then realize that you're having a heart attack, essentially on the side of the street. Obviously not a good situation. Thankfully that you had some family members close by to be able to react and take you to the hospital. That could have been a lot worse. So obviously, we've went through this aspect. You've had this heart attack, and you've already started you know raising money for different causes, and different expeditions were based on different situations. So what we're kind of looking at here is, you've paired up with Heart and Stroke Foundation to bring awareness to the upper genre of people where you live a relatively healthy life, you're physically fit, but yet you still had a heart attack. Um, so, through research and stuff, what have you found in, the last 2 years, 2.5 years even, um, working with Heart and Stroke in, different organizations?
I That's a good question. I I had a my after my heart attack, my recovery. I went through different stages. Uh, one of the things I learned from my heart attack, uh, it's that there's a lot of survivors that they go through a lot of challenges and a lot of situations, sometimes worse than my situations. I joined a group of survivors in Facebook after I was found to have depression after my heart attack. I found this group of survivors, and I was actually helping other people. So in this group, and I was learning from them all these issues that they have to go through daily life. Later on, to understanding also that being a healthy individual, just like you said, I don't drink, I don't smoke, and I am also having this, and I was having this heart attack. Like it's like come on, you think that you are supposed to heart attack only when you have a certain disorganized lifestyle. And like if you and I don't take me wrong, it is that influences also heart disease, having alcohol, drugs, and bad eating habits, and some more eating disorders and things like that, right? Lack of exercise,
Hmm.
uh, and all these things. But being for me at that stage, it was like, wow, I follow all these possible rules, and I still had a heart attack. And then also seeing, uh, for example, that for us as men, we are actually very lucky because we had the opportunity to have a lot of studies on our favor. The majority, in fact, the majority of the studies, scientific studies, are on favor of men. So since the beginning of scientific studies, we believe that you know only men could be affected by heart disease or something like that for some reason. So we left behind women. We tended to forget about what women's situation is, and the fact is that women uh, are not a small men. Women react differently to heart disease. Women's mind is different, and women's heart is different, and cardiovascular system is different. So when it comes to a heart attack, the reaction to a heart attack the symptoms of the heart attack are completely different. A woman can go to a hospital with cramp pain, with stomach cramps, for example, and they can be sent back home with Midol, because the doctor will probably tell, what you're having is period cramps.
Hmm.
But in reality, she goes home and she dies at home. She was having a heart attack, but she wasn't sweating. She
Yeah.
wasn't. She was. Her arm was not numb, for example. She wasn't feeling that pain on the chest and things like that. So I learned that through Heart and Stroke Foundations and some other studies that I've been looking to. And I thought, what, the best thing I could do is to try to close that gap. So my question is, how can I close that gap and balance that studies? I don't have the money. I honestly can't go and say, hey, I have these billions of dollars. I'd like to put that into women's research. So I needed to come up with something really strong. This time I needed to come up with something, make it public. My previous trips to Orizaba and other things, it was just between me and friends trying to
Hmm.
fundraise and do good, right? This time I thought this is a good opportunity to help in a more massive way. And that's how I did this.
Yeah. This is much bigger than, anyone could imagine, right? Where, you're going well above 8,000 meters into the death zone on Mount Everest, the countless hours of training, and not to mention, you're walking into dangerous terrain with a less than ideal heart. How many people die, on Mount Everest just because they can't handle the death zone? And that's just, those are healthy people. People have been training for years with no pre existing condition. So it's going to be a very interesting scenario to see how you manage up there, up in the death zone of greater than 8,000 meters. So, obviously the body reacts to elevation completely different, both male, female, and this objective, this, expedition is to bring awareness to heart disease for both male and females, and raise money and for research to better understand heart disease and strokes. So for myself, I've joined this initiative with Leo, and I've been fortunate enough to be put on kind of the film production to kind of start raising some awareness. And, so I wanted to bring him on to kind of tell his story, to, use my platform to spread the word out there and, see if we can kind of, draw some more attention to a good cause here. So now, I guess what I want to kind of dive into and kind of get people involved here is just like, what are some of uh, the stages, I would say, that you've encountered through the last 2 years? So, you experienced your heart attack. You went through all that. You went through the, going to into surgery and stuff like that. But like, what are the after effects of the hospital and the next stages that you experienced?
We just had a conversation with someone, Jillian, a writer that joined the team of volunteers helping with Everest 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, she couldn't put it better than anyone else. She put it as a grieved grieving, and I think it's basically all the stages, except with the fact that I am in the last one, and the last one is the one that I don't want to stop going through, because it's the one that I want to continue showing others, and how to deal with this thing, how to deal with a life life impressive moment, a life impacting moment, as it is a heart attack. My heart attack was a heart attack that not many survive. My coronary artery was blocked 100%. The heart was basically only 45% of my heart was functional for 47 minutes. That's why all the damage is created to it. That's why all the loss of energy. I could not walk for 10 steps without getting tired. I could not go downstairs because I will need assistance to go upstairs again. And I'm talking about a set of 10 steps, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even talking about long distance. I'm talking about 10 meters and things like that. Even eating food, just this exercise of doing this will make me tired back then. So that was one of the basic things that I went through. My first stage was uh, denial. I couldn't believe that. Not denial. I should say is it was I couldn't believe it was me. I was listening to what the doctors were telling me. He was telling me something that, you know what, you may not be the same again. And I was like, ugh. I didn't want to hear that, because, or I was listening to him, but I wasn't paying attention in reality.
Right.
What the thing was, I entered to realize that stage when I went down to the basement of my house to check out my climbing gear. and I just could make it. I made it to the climbing gear room, and getting out with just my set of ice tools in my hand. I was going to sharpen them. I couldn't go up the stairs, and I have to call my wife. That moment is when I dropped the bomb. I was, oh wow.
Yeah.
But I have been going before, 3 weeks before that, to other stages of to other little details that came. I One day I couldn't get up and do something. I go to the bathroom. The next day I couldn't walk to the door and open the door. The next day I was gonna go grab the mail from the box mail, and I couldn't do that. It was too much for me. Um, Things like that. So, but that day, that was the thing. I said, you know what? I would not be able to climb again.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be able to be the father again. I would not be able to be the son, the husband, the provider, because I work, and I need to pay the bills, right?
Yeah.
Not only climbing. And so I was just like, it was a day that I thought, you know what? I lost my identity. I lost my identity, and I experience now depression and other things, fears. I was diagnosed with post, what's it called? Post, something like that.
PTSD.
It's PTSD. Yeah, I was
Yeah. Okay.
diagnosed with that. I decided to take some other, you know, some other things into my mind. I started to hate everyone. I started to hate everyone. I made them believe that they were guilty of my heart attack. So my heart attack happened because all the stress that they have given to me. Um, my wife, in 30 years, she said to me, I want a divorce. So I told my mom to leave the room, to go away, because my mom was always telling me, or hey, what are you doing, or this and that. So, but my mentality was all into the fact that I hated everyone. I hated everyone around me, because, technically I lost my identity as a person. That's the word, the most common word I can find
Yeah.
to describe what I went through. I just lost my identity. That's it. There's no more Leo anymore. There's no more me. And then later on, I went through other stages. After I found out, I was reading on this group of Facebook that I was telling you. I was looking at my phone, and a lady mentioned something about not being able to go to the bathroom, and do the basic needs that she needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And she had to do it, and she had to have an accident on an incident on her own bed. So I started to give her advice. I started to encourage her. It's okay. Everything is going to be okay. Everything is going to be fine. Don't worry. You're going to make it. You're going to do this. Put a goal in your mind, and blah blah blah. And then all of a sudden, I basically dropped the phone, and I felt guilty. I think I felt guilty. I dropped the phone. I felt guilty, and I thought, what am I doing? I am encouraging people to do something that I can't even do myself. I'm encouraging people to do something that I can't afford doing it myself, right? And so I think it was a breaking point when I told my wife that this woman. I told my wife about this woman, and she looked at me and she said, she said, "That's the husband that I remember. That's the husband that I know. That's the husband that went and helped this kid with brain paralysis. That's the husband that I remember helping drug addicts, helping widows, helping kids in Orizaba in Mexico. That's the husband that I know. It's the husband that is giving advice. That is using this. I was using this as a weapon. I was criticizing everyone in Facebook. I was doing all the social media disgusting things that people do. And on that day, I started to use uh, that as a tool of helping people. Anyhow, I that was the moment that my wife said, "That's the husband that I need back." And I think that was the breaking point. That was the time that I said, "Okay, this is me. This is me. Now, what can I do? Right? What can I do to change that back to that Leo? Right?"
Yeah. So
So
you took a bad situation and turned it positive. Um, that's amazing. And here we are today. And providing everything goes well, we will be moving forward and watching from afar. You going up to base camp in Nepal and progressing up the ridge of Mount Everest.
when I think about Everest and going to Everest, and I'm glad you mentioned the training and all these things. This isn't just me going to Everest, trying to. It's like jumping out of the bus and, hey, I want to do Everest because I mean,
It's a
because
little bit bigger than just jumping out of a bus, I think.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There is three doctors in front of this. It's not. They're not even behind me. They're in front of all of this. Uh, there's a diet that I have to follow. There is a very strong training process
Mhm.
that I have to do. We have a very strong strategy with a team of some of the best Sherpas in the world, and I'm not kidding. And it's we also have medical attention in base camp. We have all the emergencies resources available. We will have that in base camp and some of the higher camps. We have put a strategy on terms of support and higher camp support in terms of oxygen and some other things and help and support. So
Yeah.
it's been we built this expedition, a very strong expedition, in order to be as much successful as possible, right?
Absolutely. Not just are you your objective is to reach the summit there is, but also to gain research and understanding on how the human heart adapts to the altitude and the environments of Mount Everest or other 8,000 meter plus peaks. So like he said, there's doctors going up there and researchers going up there to follow him and help him, and being guided up Everest. It's not a easy feat in itself, but let alone going up there with a less than ideal heart. So you know do you mind diving into a little bit of what you're doing today and tomorrow for training? Like what does a training day look like for you right now here only
There's
at 8,000 or 800 meters of elevation, so a long
Yeah,
ways
no.
from 8,000.
Yeah, yeah. It's it is hard, and it's been a little bit challenging to do some of the gym training because of the COVID-19 restrictions.
Hmm.
But we have moved that strategy to increase the training to other fields of my body and the resistance that I need. In reality, you don't need to be fit, muscle built to go to Everest.
No.
You need to be built in different other things that are more important. You need to be able to 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 uh, to how to say this to adapt your lungs to the pressure, to adapt your body to the pressure, to adapt the oxygen intake of your lungs, to try to increase the size of your lungs, try to acclimatize in 800 meters in 800 meters what you need for that 8,000 meters. Unfortunately, we don't have anything in Canada that will help you in
We
winter.
don't have
In
elevation
winter,
here. We don't have elevation
we
here.
have elevation here. Uh, it is true that I've heard that after 2,000 meters, there's some people that start experiencing some of these effects. But in my case, I
Yeah.
never. I've been in 4,000ers, and I never experienced nothing. I've been in 5,000 meters, and I don't suffer that those experiences because I've been adapted to different heights, probably, right?
Yeah.
So we have to do indoors and outdoors. Technically, what we're doing right now is indoors and outdoors. We're doing. I built a capsule, an
Hmm.
oxygen capsule, where I reduce the amount of oxygen, and I sleep and take naps on that capsule. I honestly did it with my resources. So
Yeah.
it's an IKEA, it's a furniture store IKEA closet that I adapted to for this reason.
Hmm.
Um, we have I use a mask, a special mask with an oxygen reducer also. I do a lot of biking at home. I do a lot of other things in terms of I do cold resistance. I take I do some other things with ice. I test my resistance towards cold temperatures. And in terms of outdoors, I run a lot. I do all this jogging. I do all this exercise. I carry weights with me, up hills, down hills, and things like that.
Hmm.
I do about sometimes 4 to 7 hours a day training uh, because of work and other obligations. I had to divide my days in two, three, or sometimes even four um, uh, state times that I have to go and train for 1 hour, 1 hour and a half or 2 hours.
Right.
So I divide my day into the 24 hours. They 7 of them are basically physical training, no muscle growing. Although I have to increase muscle and in certain muscles of my body,
Yeah.
but the plan is I've been in high altitudes before, and I know my body, and I know how my body reacts to high altitude. So I know exactly where I need more exercise.
Hmm.
Plus, I have a very interesting diet. It was designed by a very special individual that knows a lot about that. And I follow a sleeping path, a sleeping path, and it's because that even that influences your habits of doing that. There's a
Recovery is so
psychological.
important. Recovery is
Yeah.
so important, and sleep is the key to recovery. So, yeah.
Yep. Yep. There is a psychological issue that has happened with me in the past, and it happens to many people. A lot of people goes from this, and is when you are climbing for no hours, but days and days and days and days.
Weeks. Yeah.
The weeks, the brain starts acting against you. So you have to train your brain. For example, in high altitude, you're not hungry. You basically have to put that stuff called food in your mouth and chew it and get it. You don't feel hungry. Sometimes you don't feel thirsty. So you have to train your brain to that. You have to train your brain to repetitive actions. And this might sound a little bit weird to you. Repetitive actions. When you're climbing and you have the tendency, especially when this kind of climbing, you have the tendency to hook, take your beaner, hook it,
Hmm.
and then there's two legs. So you hook one, you unhook one, and this process or hooking, putting in the other one. For example, when you're passing someone in the line,
Yeah.
in the rope line, you have to unhook this one first, put safety on you, take this one off, and a lot of people. I have heard accidents in Everest where the guy simply thought that he was hooked instead of unhooked because his brain was set to think that. So the guy basically unhooked himself both of the time, and and he died.
Yeah,
basically. So you have
there's a
to train
lot.
your
There's a
brain.
lot of accounts of that on Mount Everest of, just disconnecting from the fixed line, and you know, all it takes is one slip, right? One little slip, and you're
Yeah, and,
gone.
and
So
simply forget about it. They simply forget about it.
yeah,
Or they thought that they connect, but instead what they did is the complete opposite thing.
yeah,
So I actually have to train. So what I do is that I have in my desk in my gear room it's just a hook. And all I do is I sit down with a reading, and that's a good tip, with a reading or something with my phone, and I hooked and unhooked. I hooked and unhooked for a half an hour.
yeah,
And that exercise sets my brain to understand that I am hooked or unhooked when it's necessary to understand that, right?
yeah,
When you're at high altitude, you start having crazy things, crazy thoughts. So yeah, you have
yeah,
to. I don't know if you ever heard about people just walking off the cliff and why
yeah.
did he do that? I would just the brain it's inflamed. Yeah, it's inflamed and things
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Elevation sickness is a real thing, and it. Some people deal with it a lot better than other people, but it definitely does some weird things to the body. That's for sure. And thankfully, I have the luxury of talking to mountain guides that have been up well above 4,000 meters, and going to be talking to a couple of them here this week. So super stoked about that interview. Um, so I guess let's just kind of dive into a little bit of the initiative here, and stuff like that. So where are we at right now when it comes to getting the word out? How's that going for the initiative? Are a lot of people picking up on it so far, or kind of in the early stages, would you say?
I think we are not in early stages. We've been with this for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Surprisingly, it seems to hold a little bit. I think we just need to continue working on spreading the word and telling people what we're doing and letting them know. So we have an excellent team of which you are part of it. Thank you very much. Uh,
Thank you.
and on which we're working very good with this group of people on different on different things that we can do. Some of them are we're working on 5 events that we are creating, but again, it comes the challenge of COVID-19. So we have to be mindful that respecting the rules and being under the rules, we need to understand that we have to keep distance. So there's no more public speaking and telling the story through public speaking,
Yeah,
but we're looking for ways to do the same we're doing uh, in to social media, to videos, to Zoom, to things like that.
yeah,
We also have public events on which we're looking to keep distance and all these things. Again, under regulations, we're trying to do as much as possible. The good idea the good ideas are coming. Good ideas are excellent. Good ideas are coming, and every day we're open to we're open to new ideas and new objectives and to be honest, we are 2 months away from me leaving to Nepal,
yeah,
and that's the plan. That's the plan. So we also have some media involvement. I work closely with Harley Stroh Foundation and some other brands that are helping here put out the word. It is always a tendency and it happened last year for Everest 2020. It's happening the same this year, and it's that people have the tendency to wait until the last moment and start going, oh yeah, this guy was the same guy. Yes, you're the guy. Going, yeah, I remember. So usually, what happens is that the last I remember I went to my birthday on February 20th last year, and after my birthday, all of a sudden, Daily Hive and some other media have we're kicking in, and I got a phone call from New York, and somebody said in New York, "Hey, Leo, I just heard your news in the Fifth Avenue. I was driving and I heard your news. This is great, man. This is a great radio station here east of North America." I was like, "Wow!" And then somebody in Europe was telling me online, "Hey, this is going great, man. So you're doing what? Wow, this is crazy." So it has a tendency to start kicking in really good about a month or two, just about this time. About this time, it's when things start going like
Yeah.
racing up, and then we also hope, we all hope, we,
Yeah.
it's I think that's the only thing that COVID-19 hasn't taken away from us. Some places it took our jobs away. Some people lost their finances and things like that. But one thing that COVID-19 could not take, I will never take, and that's because we as humans are very defensive, is hope.
Yeah.
We continue to hope. We continue to believe and to understand that as much as COVID-19 is creating these enclosed areas for all of us, we continue to come to come out and say, okay, you know what? I need to do this. I need to do that. There's a lot of people renovating their houses. There's a lot of people fixing their vehicles. There's a lot
Yeah.
of people coming with great ideas. I've seen a guy that did, research is working from home. We learned how to do this. I never knew how to use a Zoom call, right? And now everybody wants to do Zoom call. Everybody, I want to
Yeah.
see you. Oh yeah, there you go. You are there, right? So
Absolutely.
we are adjusted. We are adjusting to what we do. We're adjusting, and that adjustment is part of our lives. I would just hope that it catches up the way we want. And then, during the expedition, I'm pretty sure this is going to be a good opportunity for people to come together and say, "Wow, this guy in the middle of a pandemic it's going to do such a thing."
Yeah.
We just learned that it's the first time in winter that somebody has ever summited Mount K2 in
Yes.
Pakistan, and
Yes.
it's a
It's
huge thing.
phenomenal. It's
Like
phenomenal
it's
accomplishment.
it's phenomenal accomplishment. So
Yeah.
there's things we can do. We still can do a lot of things
Hmm.
to raise our hopes more, and then to go through all these challenges we have right now.
Absolutely. So I guess what we'll dive into here is if anyone, feels the need or has the ability to, donate to the cause for research, for the heart and stroke, for the cause of, helping you along this journey to reach the summit of Mount Everest, for research. What can people do? Is there a way that they can donate, even if it's like, a cup of coffee, $2 or $5? Is there a way that someone can do that?
Absolutely, absolutely. They can. We have many ways to help. We have put into our website, our social media, the link for go and donate to Heart and Stroke Foundation. I am fundraising $500,000 for two researchers at the University of Alberta,
Okay.
and also we have we have the opportunity to have a sponsorship. So we have a very good opportunity for brands to be part of Everest 2020.
Excellent.
And for those brands that would like to have me open the flag in the summit of Mount Everest, becoming the first Canadian, the first North American to ever summit Mount Everest after a heart attack. Actually, the second person to ever in history summit Mount Everest after a heart attack, and that all that booming publicity, they have the opportunity to expose their logos, just like I'm doing right now with these guys. So there's opportunity for logo exposure, and for all the things during the all the publicity during the campaign. Like I said, we're doing events public events with media involved, where they will be able to people will be able to expose their logos and their brands and their banners and say, hey, I am here helping Leo.
Yeah.
And there's another opportunity that we have. If somebody wants to be part of the expedition with what you said, $5, $10, anything, we also created a GoFundMe account.
Okay.
And it's also in all our social media, where people can just go click the link and make a donation to GoFundMe if you like to support the expedition part of Everest 2021.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. I will be putting all these links in the description, so make sure to go check those links out. If you got a couple extra dollars kicking around, it would obviously be beneficial to help out for a good cause. Obviously through, there's those people that are wondering about tax benefit stuff. If you are donating to Heart and Stroke, anything, I think it's above $20, you get a tax
Yep.
form on that. So just FYI for those people in Canada. I know whenever I'm donating to organizations, I'm always looking for that tax form. So, excellent. Well, thank you very much. Where can people reach out to you, get information? What's the website, and how can they track you down on, say, Instagram or Facebook?
We have a very unified social media. So if people wants to look for us, all they have to do is look for Everest 2021 in Instagram, Twitter. So far, we have Instagram, Twitter, I believe, Facebook. I think that's all we have right now.
Okay.
Or they can go to our website, is heartofthesummit.ca. Once again, is Heart of the Summit, and don't forget that is a .ca.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what we have. And all the links, they will find all the links, all the information. They will find about the story. They can actually learn about the studies that are being done at the University of Alberta. They can actually learn about Craig Steinbach, one of the scientific researchers, and he's working on high altitude research in women. He's taking 3 Nepali women and 3 Canadian women, and he is working with cardiovascular disease and learning how these superheroes, Nepalese, can sustain so much altitude and survive so many things when they're having a pregnancy, compared to the Canadian women pregnancy. It's an amazing study. In fact, is that when I'm go to Everest, he is coming with us to practice the study, to start the study. So we're hoping to see Craig Steinbach in Everest also this year, if he decides to. It's a good time to come.
Yeah.
He was coming with me last year. We were coming in different planes, but we were going to set up something really interesting there in Everest to have people look at this interesting studies. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to kind of tell us your story and kind of tell us about your initiative.
Thank you, Mikey, for the invite.
Yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity. And, I hope everyone take a little minute there and go check it out. And then if you don't have the opportunity to donate, share the campaign, share the initiative. It's a way to help a lot too. When you just go there and say, hey, this is what these guys are doing. You might don't have the opportunity to help at this moment because of the COVID-19 going on, but you have the opportunity to maybe share to someone, and that someone might have the opportunity to say, yeah, you know what, I want to be part of this. I want to be a sponsor or something like that. Please and thank you.
Yeah, that'd be great. So yeah, like you said, you may not be able to, help out financially, but maybe if you share this amongst your friends, there's somebody within your circle that would be generous enough to help out with this initiative. So thank you very much again, and we'll see you later. All right, well, thank you very much for tuning into today's interview. Today was a great time chatting with Leo and kind of telling his story and talking about his initiative. Obviously, this is something that is, important to me. So, for me to join in and be part of it is, extremely humbling. So, anyways, if you like this episode, please make sure to like it, comment below, let me know, what your thoughts are on these sort of things. And if you can, please make sure to, donate a little bit. Like we said there, even if you have an extra $5, it still goes a long way for heart disease. All right. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, follow us wherever you get your podcasts, and until next time.